Gasoline and diesel supplies in the United States have reached dangerously low levels, and the situation is going to become far more dire than what we have been led to believe. What we are about to discuss with you today is a situation that is now emerging, and as this issue continues to progress and the reasons at play become more transparent, we will continue to monitor the facts and keep you updated. The most recent statistics indicate that a severe fuel crisis is on the way this winter, which will have a significant effect not just on our wallets, but also on our economy. As you will see in the following few minutes, we're being warned that gasoline prices are going to come back to historical highs. And oil executives are saying that there will be diesel shortages as a result of the rising demand for fuels as a result of the cold weather, despite the fact that our capacity to produce them continues to be limited. You will see this for yourselves in the next few minutes. We know that most Americans don't think much about diesel, but the truth is that without it, our supply chains and economy would stop working. All of this could make things much harder than they already are, so keep up with us. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notified of our new videos. This week, the national average price of a gallon of gas at the pump stayed around $3.70. This is much lower than June, when prices were over $5 a gallon, but still a lot more than the 2.17 cents we used to pay just a couple of years ago. But the AAA warns that tight supplies and rising demand will cause gas prices to rise again, and some parts of the country are already feeling the effects. On the West Coast, the average price of a gallon of gas is $6. This is because nationwide, people used 500,000 more barrels of gas per day last week, while the amount of gasoline in storage dropped by 2.4 million barrels. Drivers should be ready for gas prices to go up this winter if demand stays high. Many gas stations on the East Coast are already out of gas. Many terminals are out of gasoline and ethanol due to supply delays. According to Tech Energy, a distributor, Wednesday, the Energy Information Administration said that the East Coast's gasoline stockpiles have dropped to their lowest seasonal level since 2007. The government is beginning to shift supplies from other parts of the country to the East Coast in order to bolster supplies there in the coming weeks. There may be even more widespread gas shortages. Additionally, there is already a severe shortage of diesel fuel, which threatens to keep prices and bills high all over the country through the winter. Since January, diesel supplies in the United States have been getting tighter. The EIA warned at the beginning of this month that diesel supplies could run out in 24 days. However, when the government saw that the reserves had been refilled, they were quick to dismiss the agency's warning. The increase they were talking about didn't make things better, though. According to the EIA's most recent report, the United States only has 26 days' worth of diesel left. Denton Chinkagrana, the head oil analyst at the Oil Price Information Service, said that supplies haven't changed much in the past month. Over the past month, the totals were between 106.1 million barrels and 106.8 million barrels, so there wasn't a big change, he said. The East Coast is the main issue. There aren't many things to buy. By comparison, during normal times, average reserve levels stand at 54 days of diesel fuel supply. It doesn't matter what measure you use. Today, the national numbers for distillate stocks are pretty tight, said Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. It's hard to say, but if there's a cold weather event, things could get tough. Diesel is a common fuel used to move goods, power construction equipment, farm machinery, and military vehicles. In the United States, the transportation sector used 46.82 billion gallons of diesel last year, which is equivalent to 1.11 billion barrels. This is an average of 128 million gallons per day. How is it that dog piles have dropped to less than a third of what they usually are at this time of year? Many states use the fuel to heat their homes in the winter. If diesel stocks keep going down at such a fast rate, the cost of moving goods could go up even more, which would make inflation go up even more. Diesel currently costs about $5.30 a gallon on average throughout the country. This is 1.65 cents more expensive than it was last year. The short-term price outlook is quite worrying. In a recent article, Newsweek has stated that the United States could soon be facing a serious shortage of diesel exhaust fluid. This would be detrimental to U.S. drivers, who are already paying higher gas prices than ever. Diesel exhaust fluid is a solution of urea and deionized water that is needed by almost everything that runs on diesel. It cuts down on the amount of harmful gases going into the air by turning nitrogen oxide from diesel engines into nitrogen and steam. Bloomberg wrote that this is already causing huge problems in the supply chain. For example, there is a shortage of diesel fuel all over the United States, and one company has started an emergency delivery protocol that asks clients to let them know 72 hours in advance so they can make the delivery. In a note to its clients, fuel supplier Mansfield Energy said that conditions are changing quickly and that carriers sometimes have to go to more than one terminal to find supply, which slows down deliveries and puts a strain on local trucking. Glancer stated that there are most likely going to be more issues similar to the one currently being faced. He explained that every fuel has been in crisis at some point this year. He went on to say that this particular crisis is easy to deal with during the summer, but the real danger will come from the cold weather in the Northern Hemisphere. Glancer believes that between Christmas and Valentine's Day will be the most difficult time and the cost will be high. You wouldn't be surprised if diesel prices in the U.S. stayed around $6.50 per gallon. Clots are continued gas buddies. Patrick Dijon points out that the U.S. price of diesel will keep going up because we can't do much to improve supply. Since Russia's attack on Ukraine, imports from Russia have been banned. This, coupled with seasonal maintenance at refineries, has left us with very few long-term solutions to our fuel shortage problem. One of the main reasons for the shortage is that there simply aren't enough refineries. According to EIA data, half of all U.S. refineries have shut down since 1980. This means that there are far fewer facilities in the country that can turn crude oil into diesel and other products. In 1980, there were twice as many refineries as there are now. In 2016, there were only 139. The group showed that the Northeast is especially sparse in this regard, as there are only 7 refineries there now, down from 27 in 1982. A few weeks ago, the federal government was asked about its plans to fix the current situation. The government said that it has some tools to increase diesel supply, such as the Northeast Home Heating Oil Reserve. This reserve stores 1 million barrels of diesel in case of a disruption in supplies. Brian D., director of the National Economic Council, said that soon after that, the Washington Post reported that diesel demand is so high that 1 million barrels of diesel from the Northeast reserves would run out in less than 6 hours if they were delivered. That is a very scary possibility, B said. This means that if we had to use those reserves, they wouldn't make things better. This is supposed to be our plan B, and everything points to us needing one. And the fact that these reserves aren't reliable suggests that we're headed for the worst-case scenario. Winter is coming up and demand for fuels will continue to rise. However, we have 1 million fewer barrels of refining capacity than we did in 2019. So we have to do more with less, stressed out. The fuel crunch affects a lot more than just diesel. It also affects heating oil and natural gas, among other things. The heating oil season has started. As we move into the winter months, this is when demand really starts to pick up. Depleting Chowdhury, who is in charge of refining and marketing research for North and Latin America, S&P Global Commodity Insights, said, "Everyone is affected by the rising cost of diesel because diesel prices directly affect the cost of making things, getting around, and keeping warm. As the price of diesel goes up, so do the prices of goods, which are usually passed on to consumers, analyst at Wood Mackenzie Susan Danforth said. We wish we could tell you that there is hope that a major crisis can be avoided, but even the Bank of America is warning that all inventories have reached a dangerously low point, and until that changes, prices are likely to keep going up. We are in a market that is undersupplied for the second year in a row, which is causing stock to go down. Researchers wrote that oil stocks have dropped to a dangerously low level, with gasoline and diesel supplies in particular at dangerously low levels as we head into peak season. This is on top of the drawdown of strategic reserves that political leaders agreed to in order to try to lower prices. Bank of America says that the United States oil stocks are already 14% below their 5-year average. And when the CEO of Exxon tells us that rough times are coming, we should definitely start to pay attention. In an interview with CNBC, Darren Woods said that consumers should be ready for up to 7 years of unstable oil markets. He blamed this on underinvestment and a sudden switch to renewable energy, which will cost society a lot. In other words, the terrible decisions our leaders have made over the past few decades are now catching up with us in a big way, and our supply chains and economy are in danger of coming to a grinding halt. Truckers across the country are already under a lot of pressure, and prices are still going up. Many of them, whose finances are already being ruined by the situation, may quit the industry altogether. Only then will we realize how important their work is for the whole country. The warnings are there, and they come from official agencies and well-known oil executives. But only God knows why our government keeps ignoring what they say. When we go to the gas station to fill up our cars, we can already see the effects of this. Everything is about to change, but it won't be for the better. This is going to be terrible, and we will all have to deal with the effects of this shortage. Over the next few weeks, we're going to keep a close eye on how this situation develops, because the stage is set for a major fuel crisis. That's all for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to hear more videos from our channel, subscribe, and make sure to turn on the bell icon.